First of all, I'll say that, this is Lewis with Women Are Saving the World, and I'm here with Darcy Winslow. Welcome, Darcy.
Hello, Lewis.
And thank you for your time today. When you and I spoke the last time, we really started having a lot of different wonderful conversations, not only on the role of sustainability, but also how women are playing into this and how men are also stepping into their own feminine. And I guess I just wanted to, open up with, first of all, perhaps to introduce yourself and your background with Nike and where you are today a little bit to set the stage.
Sure. Well, let's see. I started at Nike probably in 1987 and was with them formally for about 21 years. And during that time, I did a whole host of different jobs, which was it was an incredible experience. To find out who you are as a person in a very complex multinational organization with a very, very deep, strong, athletic, testosterone-driven culture. So how you show up as a woman, how you show up as a leader. And I just had some great experiences during that time, some of which I think that are pertinent to this conversation. I led and was the first woman in several jobs, leading our Advanced Research and Development Division, which is where I was first introduced to this nebulous concept of sustainability back in the mid-90s. And that really started me on a new path, but within the context of the positions I was holding at that time. Then I took over our Global Research Design Development Division, which included our advanced R&D. And advanced R&D, just to give some context to that, that's where we had about 10 departments that made up all the different areas that were really looking 2 to 10 years out in terms of technology, processes, products, research, etc. And that is when Bill McDonough first introduced the question, to us as a leadership team, do you know what's in your product? And to make a long story short, we could say, well, yes, we designed and developed these products very intentionally. But in reality, we were unaware. It was invisible to us, everything that was introduced into the product, primarily toxic chemicals, throughout the supply chain. So that really opened up a new portal for me and my work. I went on to run our Global Research Design Development Division, and then at one point I woke up and I went to our then president and vice president of Nike and said, if we're going to be serious about sustainability, we really have to bring it into the context of what we do, which is create products for athletes around the world. So that's what started my work in sustainability. And I went on to really get that set up and structured within the business, and then was asked to create and lead our women's division across footwear, apparel, and equipment at Nike. Which sounds like, well, gee, that's just another part of the business. But for years and years, it was always characterized as the women's initiative or the women's thing. And we kept saying, well, women's is a gender and things are not sports. And initiatives are here today, gone tomorrow. Women play sports every day. So we finally got it on the radar and got it set up as one of the key growth initiatives. So I was fortunate to lead that. And then it really hit me very strongly that through a sacred passage that I went on with John Milton, that I needed to get back into my work around sustainability. So I left Nike about two and a half years ago to start my current business, Designs for a Sustainable World Collective, and I've never looked back. So today I work with, all different sectors, higher education, corporations, NGOs, nonprofits, cross-sectoral organizations to really look at what it means to be and I'll use the word just because I don't have a better one right now, a sustainable enterprise in the 21st century, and to really recognize the growing urgency of what we need to deal with today.
Yes.
Help really work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I certainly share that passion with you in the work that I've done, and sort of what's led me to the work here with Women Are Saving the World, because I see such a strong intersection between beyond the concept, the philosophy of sustainability as it pertains to business and it pertains to community, products, services, and also sort of the idea of sustaining life as sort of innate quality and nature of the feminine. That there's a real interesting intersection, and as we had talked before, I've noticed so much of the leadership in sustainability is coming either from women or perhaps men with a sensitivity towards seeing that more collective worldview of partnership, collaboration, and sort of moving forward as a, I guess, holistic. What are your thoughts around that?
I think that's absolutely true. And again, I don't think it's so much a gender thing, as you just said, but one of the things that we started to see and recognize when we started, we being the Society for Organizational Learning, we created a subset of that called the Sustainability Consortium. And this was back in 98, 99, led by Peter Senge. And over the next 2 or 3 years, as we started to enroll other multinational corporations, we noticed a preponderance of women who were representing their company. And the men in the room also had a very different presence. And, I would call it the feminine dynamic. And so we started talking about what that meant. What are women bringing to this? And you can look into the Greek archetypes and that of the goddess, and what it means to be human in the world, and what it is that we want to preserve and conserve versus control or overpower. And it was just a very different dynamic. And I'm starting to see a shift, in organizations today. The fact that, it's not about conquering the ecosystems that we draw from or, beating our competitors, and I think it's the fringe, but it's how do we start to collaborate around issues that we're all increasingly being impacted by. So the other thing that really has inspired me over the past few months is really looking at the old patriarchal societies versus the matriarchal societies, and especially that of the Hawaiians, the Polynesians, Tahitians, and just how revered the matriarchs are in those societies. And when you talk to them, they always bring into the conversation, how do we remember the past? How do we remember how we once lived on the land? And this is coming from the women. So I think there's a lot to be learned from that, and different, I would say, leadership, not management styles, but leadership styles. And that there's not the constant need to be the leader standing in front of the group, but a person leading a new direction of thinking. And that's what I think women are increasingly willing to do.